Hey everyone, it's Michael here with GoodEReader.com. Do independent self-published ebooks need to be segregated in major bookstores? A lot of people think so. Last October, W.H. Smith, Kobo, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a ton of other stores were having erotic books written by self-published authors listed side by side in the children's section. Now this created a firestorm all over the world. Every major news publication picked up on it, the New York Times, the Guardian, and so on. And this was because a lot of authors were using keywords that were being used for children's ebooks, so daddy's little girl, and things like that. And so you had books about incest and all of this stuff in kids section. Obviously it was very controversial because those titles had no bearing in those dedicated sections. Now, a lot of companies did things about it. W.H. Smith actually shuttered their bookstore for a number of months until they solved the issue, but this is creating a greater issue. By 2020, 50% of all published books will be self-titled books, and really these existing bookstores can't handle the influx of it. So you have, Kobo and Barnes & Noble and Amazon, they all have a few million titles. Kobo has the largest catalog of about 4.1 million titles, and Amazon just has over 1 million. But what we're going to see is millions of self-published books hit those stores. Searching will be harder to do. You'll be hard-pressed to browse the romance category and actually find good books on the front page. Instead, you're just going to see an onslaught of self-published titles, which you see now, that don't have any reviews, no purchases, and it's really hard to find quality content. My idea is to segregate self-published titles and have them in their own indie sections. This will be the only way that you could really save ebook discovery, which is a big issue right now, and being able to classify books as books that are done by trade publishing and books that are self-published. Now, why is this an issue? Well, I think it's because it comes down to the fact that there's so many ebooks being published on a monthly basis that most of them get lost in the shuffle. If you have an indie part of the bookstore and then you have the trade part of the bookstore, I think that those two aspects will balance themselves out. If you have every single self-published title in their own section of the bookstore, the cream will rise to the top. And once a book has so many sales, well, then it can graduate from the minor leagues to the big leagues. You can think of the indie authors section as AAA baseball, or you can think of it as, in hockey terms, of the AHL. It's the development league. It's the league where people could refine their craft, build up a following, get book sales, and once they reach a certain threshold, then they can make their way out of the indie section into the major bookstore. This way, when your average person, and I always like to think about it as my mom. My mom's not very tech savvy. If I were to tell her to, hey, go find some romance books in the Amazon bookstore, she would click on the romance field, and then on the first page is both 3 very well-known authors, and the rest are just self-published books, terrible cover art, spelling mistakes inside the description. I don't think my mom would easily be able to find anything that she would want, and the things that she would read, she probably wouldn't be happy with. And this is really why indie titles need to be segregated. Now, a lot of people think that this is very controversial, but I think that for the betterment of the industry and for the companies being able to survive in the future without spending hundreds of millions of dollars of redoing their search engines, redoing their ebook discovery systems and everything like that, and depending on third-party companies like Goodreads in order to actually find the quality books, it's much easier to just say indie authors over here, trade published authors over here. That's the best solution. What do you guys think? Should indie titles be segregated? Should they have their own ebooks sections? Or are we going to repeat the same errors as we've seen before about erotic titles listed side by side with kids' books? If we don't put a stop to this now, the situation's only going to get worse. For GoodEReader.com, my name's Michael.
Besides watching them on our YouTube channel, you can actually go to goodyreader.com/blog. You can click the link up above to get directed to that website. That's our main news publication where all of the great articles from our great writing team kind of come together, and then we take those and turn them into little news blasts like this one you just saw and put them on YouTube. So keep watching. We have over 850 something videos. We're doing lots more contests. We're going to do a if you check our channel, we'll have a contest for the ZTE Open. That's the first Firefox OS phone. So keep watching and keep the liveliness going.